doing push-ups. I've been doing sit-ups. I've been doing chin-ups. I've been doing pull-ups. I threw up once, but I'm okay now.
What's up, and welcome to a Wednesday edition of the Ysn Power Hour. DJ Oakley here, Scotty Mincher on that side of the table. It is a 20th of July edition. Man, this month is flying by. The summer is flying by, Scotty, and you can tell with that summer sweet hat you got, the old school Tampa Bay Bucks hat. I dig it.
Yeah, I thank our very good friend Jimmy Sutton for this one. He was in Florida recently, and he joked about getting me a Brady jersey, not really knowing that I'm actually like a Brady fan, but he joked, and I'm like, I do love the Tampa Bay, the creamsicle, so you could get me something creamsicle, and this is what he got me.
Do you remember my Tom Brady creamsicle jersey I ordered from China, and it was gold?
Oh, I do remember.
It was yellow.
That, yeah.
Oh, what a day.
I guess that's the price you pay.
That is. You roll the dice, baby. Throwing it down. We got a great show for you. Richie Giuliano will join us just a few minutes. We got a lot of things we got to talk about. Scotty, the majority of the day, we're going to talk about what was the question of the day today on YSN, which we brought back after a long vacation from it. And it's, do and should umpires get a pay raise for sports? Because in Northeast Ohio, and we're talking about more so the Cleveland area right now, Cleveland is reporting, I believe it's WKYC, Dana Ball is reporting it down here, that Cleveland officials could sit out the season this year if they don't get a pay raise for football and other sports. So we're going to talk about that. Should they deserve a pay raise? Do they deserve a pay raise? And we've already talked to one official that we know and is near and dear to our heart, Fred Moots, who's also the coach at Boardman. We're going to talk about, Scotty, are we seeing, yes, I think an umpire or an official shortage, but are we also going to see a coaching shortage? And which one of those will come first and which one will be more impactful for sports? All that and more as we roll through the Power Hour today. But as we do each and every day, it's time for On This Day in Sports History. Roll it. All right, so on this day in sports history, I got to find it again. There were some really bad ones, Scotty, that we could have certainly picked and talked about over the course of tragedy, but there's this one. On this day, July 20th, 1976, hammering Hank Aaron hits his 755th and final home run off of the Angels' Dick Drago. And Scotty, one that stood the test of time for so many years until, of course, Barry Bonds became that guy and now sits with the lead at 762. With the home run derby this week, with the All-Star game last night, who is your favorite home run hitter of all time?
Oh man, that is a great question. I would say my favorite home run hitter of all time. I think this answer is gonna surprise you, and he wasn't necessarily just known for him. This guy is still active, by the way. He's not necessarily known for exclusively just power, but being a great all-around hitter. But one of the guys that I think was just unbelievable. He's the best player I've ever seen live. Best hitter, anyway, is Miguel Cabrera.
Really?
So he'd probably be number one.
Wow. That's out of left field a little bit. I like it though. It's a good pick. I have a tie. So my number one, I guess. So I got 1A, and 1B. One is Mark Mcguire. The things Mark Mcguire could do, granted, what he put his body through, with taking, substance or strength enhancing supplements or whatever he wants to call it. Mark Mcguire, I mean, he could damage a baseball. It's just majestic. The other one, Albert Bell. That's 1A.
I
love Albert Bell. And then without a shadow of a doubt, my favorite player of all time is 1C, and that is Barry Bonds. My guy, he could do to me the greatest hitter of all time because of what he could do to a baseball. People will talk, and I might be corrected here. People talk about Charlie Hustle. They talk about Pete Rose. They talk about, he's the greatest hitter of all time. I don't think that anybody ever intentionally walked Pete Rose with the bases loaded multiple times.
No, I honestly never, and we're close in age, DJ, but I don't even remember like it even being discussed before, like Bonds, like that was seen as like I thought it was pretty much like foreign, even the idea of walking someone, giving them a free pass with the bases loaded. But you think about it, Bonds was so dangerous and he had such a great eye at the plate that, walking him was a lot of times probably the best way to go about it.
I mean, essentially, and Richie joins us on the show here, so we'll have to put our ears on in just a minute. But essentially, when you are in a situation to where you're walking a dude with the bases loaded, it's like punting on first down. Like, that the defense is so good that it might be worse for you to actually run the offense than it is to just give them the ball back. That's how crazy it is from that perspective. Look at this guy rolling in, Richie Giuliano, and my goodness, Richie, your eyes are popping right now, man. You're like an action figure. You got the makeup on, the TV makeup, all that stuff?
No, I just got good lighting over here at Scene 2. I had to move over, so I just popped on Scene 2. I don't think they're using it tonight because both Palomino games are playing on Scene 1, so I just moved over. It's nice, peace, quiet. It's nice.
Why don't you try Scene 3? I heard it's nice and quiet over there too.
Andy will attack me.
You and Andy. You want a Pepsi, buddy?
He's bringing me one tonight.
See, there you go.
Is that I think I know Andy.
You know
Is
Andy.
he the one that always like bugs you?
Yep, you got
okay.
it. I would say bugging with a loving affection. Bugging. Like Andy's we love him. We love him. There's no other way but to love Andy. But at the same time, you'll be in the middle of your game and Andy will just chime in as if he's a color commentator. It's the best. It's the best.
Reminds me of somebody else.
No, I don't know who you're talking about. So Richie, preview what you're doing tonight. Obviously, Palomino.
Yeah, Palomino. You got the winner goes to Texas and Laredo. So first off, we're gonna have the losers bracket game, which will be one of the Youngstown teams. I mix them up. It's red and blue. It's Juice's team. So yep. Nightline against Beaver County, and that's a rematch of yesterday. Nightline actually beat them. They had a no-hitter going through 3, and then Gavin Schrum had a leadoff single on the left. Madam Bame had a 2 RBI single on the left, and they kind of broke it open. So that's a rematch of yesterday at 5:30 to take on Pletch's team. I believe they're Astro blue.
Okay.
So blue and red, one of the two Youngstown teams. So,
Youngstown blue.
Yeah, Youngstown blue.
Gotcha.
So I mean, hopefully we'll have the two Youngstown teams in the championship. That would be kind of cool. But, it's a different situation. If there would be an if game, NABF starts at 10 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. So if there's an if game, there's a possibility, you never know, because, Juice's team has some good pitching, and they beat them before in the regular season. So if there would be an if game, they don't know what they're going to do yet.
I've got the solution. Are you ready?
All right.
If there's an if game, we throw baseball out the window, and it's Juice and Fletch in the parking lot in the cage, and whoever makes it out of the cage live is the winner.
We almost had that situation because
oh boy,
Fletch took one of Juice's pitchers.
Oh,
he's not too happy about that. But
oh boy.
But
I was just trying to make fun of the situation. I thought it would be the easy way. You save some arms, but you lose your manager forever.
Oh gosh.
Richie, we're talking today about it was on WKYC out of Cleveland, and the officials and umpires, whatever, coming up. I mean, you name it. Officials is the correct terminology here, but I keep saying umpires because we're in baseball season. So the officials want paid more. And there might be a little bit of a standoff in Cleveland football if this happens. In fact, let me pull it up. This is courtesy of Sigler himself. Where is he at? There it is. Okay, so it says, and Dana Ball retweeted this, high school football officials in the Cleveland area are threatening to sit out week 1 if not paid more. Northeast Ohio schools and football under pressure as number of officials decline.
Yeah.
From your standpoint, I want to preface this as this is personal opinion, not the opinion of YSN. This is the opinion of 3 dudes like sports. Would you pay, and do these officials deserve to be paid more given the status of a shortage?
I think you're forced to now, right? With the shortage of officials. I mean, it's their way or no way at this point, because if you're not going to pay them, nobody's going to be able to step in time, because it takes classes and time to be able to get the certification to be able to officiate under OHSAA qualifications. So if they don't officiate week 1, you can't just pull guys off the street and say, hey, you're going to officiate. I mean, that's just not how it works. So
that's where you're wrong. They can do that.
Well, they can, but it would be frowned upon.
And very much so. It'd be hilarious, but frowned upon at the same time.
And it would be a mess. But yeah, I think they're forced to pay them. And you know what? They have money. We know they have money.
Oh,
I mean, it's almost like the union right now going after the company.
And remember, it's not the OHSAA that's paying the bill here. Like, this is the schools that are paying the bill.
Yeah.
So and that kind of leads right into my kind of catch-22 is I think the OHSAA should be paying football.
I think so too.
I really do.
I think the OHSAA, if you got to be a member of the OHSAA,
Bingo.
I think they should take the fees, right?
Yep.
If they would need to get another stadium, if something would happen with repairs, they would have to pay for the new stadium that they would be playing at for that particular night. And they should always be paying for the officials. I don't know how you're paying the OHSAA to be a member and then also paying the officials on a nightly basis, because if you think about some of these smaller schools and the amount of games that they have, girls and boys sports, I mean, you're spending a ton of money on officials every single night.
So here's my crux as well. And Sigler's saying they want $80 per game, and in following years they want to move to $100.
That's a lot of money.
If you have 6 officials, it's costing you $600 a night just to get started, just to play the game, not including lights, concessions, the utilities, all that stuff.
What we might see is, what happens in baseball sometimes. A regular crew in baseball should be 3 umpires, and we see that in a lot of Power 5 conferences. They actually have 4-man crews. But, that we might do what, some of the smaller conferences might do and limit the amount of officials and umpires per game. And they might go, hey, 6, we'll cut that in half. You got 3. Deal with it. And that's what we got.
I think the answer is the OHSAA picks up the officials. And their OHSAA, I mean, they've got to go get accredited anyway, right? So now you're an OHSAA official. You get paid by through the OHSAA. You're assigned by the OHSAA. All that stuff. The OHSAA should take this bull by the horns. So that way there's not guys like you and I and Scotty here that sit there and go, what exactly is the OHSAA doing for all this money they're getting in the playoffs?
What are they doing with it?
Yeah, because now you have all this money that you're getting in the playoffs, and now people can say, well, at least they pay the umpires, they pay the officials. Yeah. That makes sense.
At least the gate fee goes to, the officials and umpires who are there to make sure the game goes.
Following year, you know what I mean? Like, you take it out of that, because I think people always have their hand out. In school, people talk about, taxes and things of that nature. I get it. Listen, I'm a tax-paying citizen. But at the end of the day, schools have extremely tight budgets. I look at schools the same way that I look at the elder generation that's on a fixed income. And, like, you wouldn't want Grammy and Grandpa to pay for your Disney World excursion. They can't afford it. It just doesn't work. It's like the episode of Seinfeld where Jerry's grandma should not be sending $50 checks. So, I mean, for me, it comes down to the OHSAA has some skin in the game here. They have the ability to kind of scoop up everybody at the same time and say, hey, we got it covered. Umpires, officials, you want X amount per game? We got you. But you have to check the box on all of this. And here's the caveat that I think should be in all of this, Rich, is these umpires and the officials need graded. Because if you're not up to snuff, you shouldn't be getting $100 per game. I'm sorry.
And I think it's going to be tough for a lot of these umpires to get graded, because who's going to go out there and grade them? I think it's tough already to find umpires to be out there on the field, and officials. Now you got to find people as well that are going to grade them, because they hire major leaguers and, NBA officials have their people 3 or 4 in the stands every night that are grading them on their quality of work. But if we can't find umpires and officials to be on the field, how are we going to find them also to regulate and pretty much grade them 1 to 10?
Well, here's the one thing that I know about umpires. As Sigler chimes in, says that means brings the tax conversation, because then they work for one employer and not 20 different ones in different schools. Well played. Didn't think of that angle. But here's the one that I'm interested in, Richie, is you take that theory of yours, right? Every umpire has a day where they can't really umpire anymore. So let's say they graduate into being someone who recommends umpires, grades umpires, things of that nature, because we see it all the time at playoff games. If you're in the booth, you're in the press box, you'll see people in the back jotting down and talking. Those are officials that were brought to the game to grade out the officials, so that way next year those officials can either stay in the playoffs or be eliminated from the playoffs. I don't know if you're familiar with how they do it in the major leagues. They have umpires that are official, right? They've been umpires or they umpire themselves right now, currently or previously. They watch the games and they do. If only there were a live streaming company that the OHSAA might want to partner with for in exchange of fees. They waive our fees for the playoffs, and we give them all of our tapes so they can grade out their umpires and officials. I don't know. If only there were a streaming company that would do that or be at the majority of these games, it probably would work out for them pretty well. Just a thought.
Not only umpires, and it could occur if somebody were to get ejected. A coach or a player would get ejected. They need to see the tape because they need to put together a sentence for the future of whether that guy or that coach is going to be able to play or participate in the next game. Same situation.
If only, man. If I had some money, I would put together a streaming company. We would just go around and stream games and help out the OHSAA, because we're just those good people. Come on, OHSAA, wake up. Like, here's your opportunity. You charge us thousands of dollars a year. We can help you, but we need to, we scratch your back, you scratch ours. That's just how it goes. That's welcome to business 101. So
I want to hear Scotty's opinion on this kind of real quick. I mean, about the umpiring situation and everything.
Are you sure you want to hear it? Because he's going to bring it. I mean, this is going
I'm
to
ready.
be full like arm bar and clothesline for you.
Oh, you know it is.
Let's go, Scooter.
Nothing, no weak sauce here. I not to totally echo what you said, Richie, but I think they're pretty much they are gonna be forced to pay these officials. I mean, I think about it, and like it's one of those things where not that I don't think coaches are important because they are, but we've had many conversations at YSN. And again, this is not putting down coaches, but players are the ones that, win and lose games, not the coaches. And I think if you're just trying to pull guys off the street, I think the quality of the officiating in these games is going to take a huge dip. Like, I put it this way: I think a school, and schools have done this. They've gone by for years with coaches that maybe don't have a superb winning percentage, but they do good things for the program. I just don't know, like, if the NFL can do it a couple years ago when they had the replacement officials and there was that one horrible call. I think it was a Seattle game, a Hail Mary. Like, if the NFL couldn't get good replacement officials, I don't know if I see a scenario where high school can. I mean, I know the OHSAA is a cash cow, but that's more reason to me just pay these guys. I mean,
Wait a minute. Let's think about. Let's stop you right there. Would you go officiate for $100?
I would. Yes.
I would too. $100 is way different than 60. It's way different than hell. It's even different than 99. Like, if somebody says I'm going to give you $99 to officiate this game, I'm like, They say give you 100. All right, cool. I'm all right. Because here's the difference, guys. I'll put it.
Bucks.
Yeah. Let's say you're doing basketball. If you just do home games for one school, you get $2,200.
Now they want $100 as well for basketball too.
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah. Well, I think
basketball is 10 times worse than football.
Yeah, it's more physically demanding because you're running up and down the court.
Yeah. I mean, I would see it as, hey, I don't have to. I can throw away my gym membership. I can go get my miles in, running up and down the court, and I get paid to do it. Are you kidding me? I'm in.
And, being a home plate umpire is even worse. Jeff Davis was behind the plate yesterday, and he got hit by a baseball twice in the face. Twice.
That's not good.
No, I thought he had a concussion. He looked back, and I was like, oh, gosh.
I mean, it's still better than a stroke, though. So, I mean, we're still – I got him.
We need Shane Davis out here.
Yes, Shane Davis would be great. He'd be a good – see, I felt bad because Moots was on Running Point, and I asked him through the chat box about if he thinks that these officials deserve it. He said, yeah, they do. And my question isn't necessarily do they deserve it, but what have they done to deserve it other than there's a shortage, right? Mm-hmm. We saw this happen in America where people just didn't want to go back to work, so they had to pay the people that did come back a little bit more. So let me ask you a question. When these officials start coming back, and then they will come back.
If they're getting paid $100, they'll be back.
I'm signing up. Like, I might, hey guys, you go ahead and broadcast it. I'm gonna go.
Or we could do both. You put a huddle cam up there, and you mic yourself up, and you run up and down the baseline there, and you could call the game yourself.
Can you imagine how awkward that would be? Like they bang a three from downtown. You get looks at from the crowd.
Like, who are you talking to? And then the players are probably looking at you like on the court because you're next to him. Johnson over to Murphy. Murphy.
That's not how you pronounce my name.
Well, sorry.
My bad.
What'd you say?
Wow.
Technical.
See ya. It's interesting to me because the grading is what matters for me, because I don't think that everybody should get this the same way as, you know, everybody that broadcasts moving forward isn't going to get the same rate. If you put in 5 years and a guy is just starting, you shouldn't be at the same rate. You shouldn't. That's just not how it goes. You put in time, you put in effort. It should be, to me, it should be a tiered system. Mm-hmm. If you're an umpire for the last, or an official for the last 10 years, you get X amount. If you're an umpire or an official for the last 20 years, you get X amount. Anything over that, it's a standard amount. And if you want these officials that have hundreds and thousands of games under their belt, then you get, and you pay the $100. But if you want these new officials and you're trying to save a buck, you might get some bad officials, but you're saving $40 a game, $40 an official, which is $80. Then you put it back. I mean, if the OHSA wants to do it that way, you put it back, and they surely like putting it back in the hands of the schools. They don't like making those tough decisions. I think that's the way you have to do it.
I really think it's just like everything else in life. I mean, you start at the bottom and you work your way up. You know, starting at an early age, you get paid $50 to $60. So say if I were to sign up and I took my classes and, you know, I did a couple games, I probably shouldn't be paid the same amount as, you know, a Jeff Davis who's been doing it for 35 years. I think he deserves the 100. I got to pay my dues. I got to do the Little League games. I got to go do all the other small games. Then you work your way up. I mean, it's just like everything else in life. Nobody deserves, when you first start, to get the CEO job of a company. I mean, it's just not how it works.
Well,
unless you know somebody,
unless you're wise,
or you start it up yourself.
One thing, if I could, I was curious about. I wanted to get both you guys' take on something I've been thinking about.
Oh boy.
How much of this, because me myself, like, I'm ignorant when it comes to, as far as like finances and, you know, managing stuff like that. Like, my dad has managed all my money for me ever since I was little.
Ever since the other weekend where you made it rain.
Yeah. So I don't really know much about it, but how much of this, DJ and Richie and whatever you want, to guys wants to go first, can, but how much of this do you think is it like everybody just wants to get paid now and everybody's starting to get paid? Even there's like 9 states now where high schoolers, you know, they could get paid. How much of it is that? And do you think, it seems to me, I'm not out in the public 24/7, but every time I'm out, there's at least somebody talking about inflation and how everything's up nowadays. The prices of everything have just like skyrocketed. And so how much is it? It's just, you know, part of everybody wanting money and greed, maybe, and how much of it is just the inflation? Do you think that plays a role?
I mean, honestly, right now, I think it's just expensive to live. You know, when you look at, you know, food costs and gas prices, everything's up right now. So, you know, I think these umpires are thinking, if I fill up my tank and it's costing me $65, $75, I want to be able to compensate that with $100. So you're making something. And then you could also take that away from, you know, a meal cost as well, because, you know, we sat down the other day and to eat wings, to get 12 of them, it's like $17. It's like insane to eat one meal out nowadays. It's costing you like a full hour and a half, 2 hours of work. So I think it's just more expensive to live nowadays. And, you know, we live in Youngstown. Like, imagine going down to like Miami or like Naples, Florida, where everything's double what we are. Like, you just got to make money nowadays. I mean, that's just how it goes. And, you know, I just think that these officials deserve to get paid $100 a game because they're the ones sweating and doing all the hard work. And, they take it from the fans night in and night out. And I don't think it's an easy job to do. So that's just my opinion.
I like that. I think that there's something to that. I also think that you're spot on when you say that it's just expensive to live right now. I mean, Scotty, you nailed inflation. But there should, in my opinion, there should be some things that are inflation proof. And it costs more money to play sports because the price of bats go up. I mean, the price of a bat whenever I was young, like 10 years old, was not 400, 500. Like, families could not afford a bat. In fact, families didn't have to buy bats because the teams provided bats. This is the crazy part about sports is it's gone from being that a team or an organization provides all the equipment for all of their players, minus a glove, let's say. But the jerseys, the uniforms, the bats, the catcher's gear, all of this stuff they used to provide for you. You can't find that anymore. Everybody is on their own. You buy your own bats. You buy your own helmets. You buy your own catcher's equipment. You buy your own gloves. I mean, there's gloves out there that are $1,000.
Yeah.
$1,000 baseball glove. My mother bought me in my sophomore year of college. She bought me actually her and my dad bought me a Nakona glove, catcher's mitt. It was probably $400. Easy. I never asked in my life. I've never asked for a $400 glove because I would get the cheap ones because they would break in a lot faster and I could feel the ball. The difference between that glove wasn't as much as, and I'm not knocking Nakona, but a glove is a glove is a glove. If it catches the ball, it does the trick. The point I'm trying to get to is if people are going to have a perceived value of $100, and that is one umpire, one official, whatever it may be, all those other umpires, all those other officials will have that same perceived value if that's what they're worth because they're doing quote unquote the same job.
Yeah.
And that's the trouble is sometimes you get really good officials that have a ton of experience and that are worth every bit of that $100. And sometimes you don't. Sometimes you have guys that should never call a game. Angel Hernandez shouldn't ever umpire a Little League game, but the dude gets paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it. And the problem is those umpires, you can't tell them any different because we're in an umpire shortage. We're in an official shortage. So when they do have umpires, and yes, umpires are out there. I'm not saying you're all bad, but you're not all good. Let's put it that way. So, like, you know who you are, and you probably get talked about a ton. And I'm not pointing at anybody in particular, but some of these officials, they stink, and they don't deserve $100. And do you not think that the first time that we pay these officials $100 and they screw up, that they're not going to hear about it? And then what changes? They're still going to hear about it. Now we know how much they make.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing too. And I mean, I think you make a good point saying that, even though you're a first or second year official, you're still going to want the same number of money that a 33-year-old official and a guy that's been there for, a surplus of years.
Yep.
So I think without that tier system that you brought up earlier and that, officials can be kind of labeled good or bad and that decides their pay, without that, it doesn't matter because everybody's going to get paid the same.
So what if there was not necessarily a grading system by umpires, but every day, right? So let's say that the OHSA comes out with a Yelp review system that you get to rate your umpire.
I don't know about that because, you have some of these Karen parents that are just ridiculous, and it's going to go south quickly. And then once you see all these reviews, you're going to know exactly who's posting those reviews, and it's probably going to get ugly at a particular event. So I think I'd rather have it be a non-disclosure type of website. Or
I would love to see the names on them just because not only because I wanted to be stirred up a little bit, but are you brave enough?
Yeah,
to have it.
I think a lot of parents are. There's no doubt. They don't care.
No stars. Would never recommend.
Post from DJ Oakley. I was at my son's T-ball game the other night, and Johnny missed a call at first base. Blatant by 2 steps. He is the worst umpire I've ever seen in my life.
Get him out of here.
Get him out of here.
Would fight if not surrounded by children. Would you sign up for that, Scotty? If you were at an event, would you sign up to give valuable feedback to umpires?
Oh, I would love it. I gave a glowing review. I remember my sister's like, go online, go on Google, give us a 5-star rating. And I wrote my little review too, and it was nice and like lengthy of the sub shop. It would help me improve my vocabulary and my typing skill. I would be all about that.
I just think it'd be funny to hear Scotty talk about an umpire and give him a glowing review. His balls were immaculate. His strike calls were amazing.
I could hear
The blue guy, the best blue guy I've ever seen in any event ever.
Oh, what a topic! Hey, we'll take a real quick break. We'll be back because I think that Scotty, you said something that I want to talk about. Everybody wants to make a buck nowadays off of everything they do. Is everything in sports a business? We'll talk about this a little bit more. Throw in some NIL stuff because again, Pennsylvania's in, Ohio out. The OHSA just keeps trying to push this further and further away so nobody sees it, trying to sneak it underneath that rug. All that and more on the Ysn Power Hour when we return right after word from these great sponsors.
It's a new year at Acura of Boardman and Boardman Mitsubishi with huge savings on over 350 fully inspected vehicles. We have cars, trucks, SUVs, minivans, and work vehicles. If we don't have it, our team will find it. We aim for 100% credit approval with payments as low as $99 per month. And as always, we'll pay top dollar for your trade. For a great vehicle and a great experience, come see why everyone is stopping by at Acura Boardman and Boardman Mitsubishi.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting, where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education, and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
Being able to have success on the football field and the basketball court and just every aspect of, my sports career is now documented. One of the greatest things about high school sports is to be able to talk about it for the rest of your life and to look back on the days with my buddies whenever we had some battles, whether it was with, our rival or just another game. And I could go back and look at it and, not only myself, but my family members, my teammates, and it's something that will last a lifetime. My name is Parker Sherry, and my sports network is your sports network.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
All right, so we're back here on the YSN Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you alongside Scotty Mincher and Richie Giuliano joining us from Scene 2 right now. He will be stationed up at Scene 1 for the games. What time's first game? 7? No.
5:30.
5:30. And we will have all 62 games right here on ysnlive.com for the NABF World Series, both the 16s and the 18s. Bringing it down to Struthers, baby. 1-4, and I love this time of year. So many baseball games, such a little time frame. You told me 62 games.
Yep, 62.
I was blown away. How in the world do we fit 62 games into essentially 72 hours?
Yeah. I mean, pray to God that Mother Nature cooperates, because it could get ugly quick if it doesn't. Because if you got to reschedule a full day, which is 20 games, it's going to be tough to play double headers, especially because the next day you're slated all the way from 10 a.m. up to 8 o'clock at night. And they already purchased Fitch to play the majority of their games. And Springfield is hosting a couple games. So there's really nowhere else to go at this point unless they call up, Eastwood Field, but even they have games that are being played. So
the only other place I can think of is down here at Next Level. They might be able to swing it, but it's not turf, so it would be interesting. But again, we are your home. If you can't make it to Scene Park, which I really hope you're able to get there for a chicken wrap or something and watch some of this talent that's rolling in, because there is some extreme talent from all over the world here in Scene Park in Struthers, Ohio, and on YSN for the next 72 hours or so. So, Richie, you will be a part of that. I'll have some of the later games. I'll be taking a Scrappers game from you as you're on to another wedding, not yours. So I'll make sure that, again, the most eligible bachelor, well, I should say one of the most eligible bachelors, because the other one's sitting right next to me with his Tampa Bay hat on, looking all clean and sexy with no more chops.
You shaved, Scotty.
It's starting to come back.
Oh, are you bringing them back?
I think I have. Like, I don't know. Like, my mom loves it, but sometimes, like, I know that I look in a way. Like, sometimes when I'm all kid, when I think I'm too young.
That's all right, baby. You gotta look young. Look young, stay young.
I guess so. Yeah.
I like you got the beard growing, the chinny chin chin.
Yeah, the chin beard. I've done, and I've just Jimmy just like cleaned me up today a little bit. So
Richie wishes he could have a chin beard.
Yeah, I got nothing. I mean, even when I got like a little peach fuzz here, I just shave it off because it's just
let it fly.
There's nothing going on. One time I tried it out. I'm like, you know what? I'll give this a month and we'll see how this goes. No.
The question that I want to know, because I was looking the other day, the hair. Okay, does the hair just stay like that?
Yeah, I mean, I just put it up and it just pretty much stayed. It's been trained over the 12 years. It knows where to go.
The lion tamer, Richard Giuliano.
I mean, I wake up and it looks awful.
Like if you were to extend it, how long is it? That
like
little bit
go all the way up.
Yeah, it's not that long.
It's kind of hard.
Looks like it could go. There you go.
I mean, but I mean, it lays flat.
Yeah.
I got like the little weight.
A little like Machine Gun Kelly right there.
See, I was gonna go with Conan O'Brien.
All right, I'll take that. Machine Gun Kelly's got a smoke show.
He does have a smoke show. He did have Megan Fox. I know.
Who's he have now?
I don't know if it's still Megan Fox.
I think so. Look who's popping in though.
Who? Hang on.
Radar.
Radar's back. Here we go. All right, stand by, everyone. It's the Radar Hour on YSN Power Hour. Bingo. Here we go. And hi, Scotty and DJ. Oh, no, Richard this time. This is Radar. Right. I've got a question for you both. Brookfield may have one of the best O-lines in the Valley. Liberty coming off a 500 season last year. Champion is coming off a dreadful 2-8 campaign in 21, and Youngstown East has only one winning season in the last 14 years. How do you see Brookfield, Liberty, Champion, and Youngstown East preparing for the season ahead? That's a great question, Radar. I'm just going to assume that was part of the Muscle Connection high school football preview on Channel 21 WFMJ, our official partner. We have nothing to do with that, like zero. But I will tell you, I expect great things from all those teams. That's my official statement.
I remember East's winning season is when they beat Canfield at their home field. That was like their biggest win, like ever. They beat Canfield, who was like the number 2 ranked team in the state at the time. And that was their last winning season, I think he said, in the last 14 years.
It's tough. It's tough treading right now. I think Cheney's going to be good. Not that Radar asked about that team, but you talk about Brookfield. Brookfield, yes, their O-line is going to carry them. I think that Pulowski, their quarterback, is going to be very, very good in his senior campaign, I believe. I mean, I feel like he's been around for 6 years, and I think he's only a senior now. I think he's going to be very good. I think Liberty is going to be a little bit challenged this year, given that they lost some of their guys. Yeah, they lost their quarterback. And then as far as East goes, I don't know. Champion, I'll be honest, I have no clue right now. You know, we haven't even started studying yet. That starts next week. Hard to believe on our teams. You know, like we're trying to get some of the players on, some of the coaches on, and we're gonna attempt to do that. But a lot. I think the best thing about our area is it's always a challenging. You never really know until you start, swap and spit a little bit, in the trenches. So I'm excited for this year above probably any of the other ones because I think there's a lot of teams that are going to have to really set themselves apart this year. It's gonna be a fun year.
That's the beauty of week number 1 and week number 2, right? Especially for us, because like you said, we don't always really know who's going to be good and who's not, just because every year you're losing seniors and there's no free agency in high school football. So it's always fun week number 1, especially when you have some really good matchups like we're going to have. You got Ursuline is going to be a great matchup. Canfield and West Branch is going to be really good to start. A couple on Thursday, and then a couple other teams are traveling a far distance to play as well. So I think it's going to be fun week 1 just to see where teams kind of land because of how good the competition is in the first week.
We got some breaking news for you. Scotty and Super Dave are going to be in on Fridays once again this year as part of the Audible Call with Mike Ackelson. So I'm excited about that, having him there. Radar's going to want to fetch a ride, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, we could talk about it off the air if you want.
Uh-oh.
Bring it, Scotty. Come on.
I was just going to say, how would you feel about it? Because I know he's going to bug me.
Hey, you know what? If Radar wants to be part, let's go. The more the merrier. Let's let Radar fly a little bit. Let's put Radar on the radar.
All right, good.
Let's get somehow. Anybody have any good segues to get back to where we started here?
I do. All
right, do it.
Real quick. I want to go over the schedule for week 1 because I just pulled it up.
Okay.
This is Thursday, August 18th, so the opening day of high school football. You started off Brookfield at Ursuline, and Radar already chimed in, talked about the offensive line. Obviously, Ursuline with a new quarterback in their play, they're quicker on the outside, so they're probably going to avoid the line as much as possible and try and stretch things out. Crestview coming to Salem.
Love that match.
Got United at Waterloo. Waterloo's got a brand new press box from what I've seen.
They do.
So that's going to be cool. Ty's got that call. This is probably one of the best matchups, not just in week 1, but in all of high school football. And I think you know where I'm going with this. Springfield at South Range.
I wonder who's going to be there for that one.
Oh, I think big DJ Oakley's going to be there for that one. Prime as well. That'll be prime. And then Cheney at Poland.
That's a good one.
Allen. Those are all the Thursday games that kind of stick out. And then Friday features a couple of good games as well. Girard's coming back to Streetsboro. That's a nice little matchup there from the postseason.
Is Canfield West Branch on Thursday or Friday?
That's on Friday night.
Yep. And that's the featured game elsewhere, just in case you were wondering.
Boardman versus Cardinal Mooney at Ridge. And then this is one I'm really going to be keeping an eye on here. Henderson International at Austintown Fitch. That's the team from
Vegas. Yeah.
I wish it was
supposed to be pretty low.
We were and listen, there was rumors that we were going to Vegas for that game. Like,
that would be sweet.
I know. Man, we were talking about it.
Yeah, we were.
And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, if we got to send somebody to Vegas, we have now, Richie, this isn't a knock on you at all, but you're only 22 years old. So what people don't think about is if I send you to Vegas, you can't go anywhere because you don't have a rental car. Yeah, you'd have to Uber. So we would have to send and this is where you got really excited, was you and Steve Leslie.
Oh, yeah.
Going to Las Vegas.
There would be trouble.
There would be.
We might not make it out alive.
It would be Hangover 4. Leslie would be throwing mattresses out the window. It's just, oh gosh. But we found out that we're playing that game at Fitch, which I like a whole lot better because we can kind of keep the band together.
And it's our home turf too. And then looks like me and Kyle are going up to Spire that night, Friday night. So that'll be interesting.
Who's that?
Newton Falls at Ashtabula St. John's.
Oh boy. Oh, Amos are all about the Vegas trip.
We'd have a YSN chartered plane out there.
Would we? We'd have a Chartered.
Somebody will donate it.
You guys would be lucky to get the moped from Dumb and Dumber up to Vegas.
We'll be like the one athletics player who was going to go to the All-Star game on Southwest, but then the Astros stepped in and they decided to charter him. Did you hear about that?
No.
So the Athletics All-Star, and they had one, can't remember his name right now.
Sounds good.
So the Athletics were going to send them on a regular commercial airline to fly them into LA for the All-Star game.
At his finest.
And then the Astros heard about it. They stepped in, invited the guy on their own chartered plane where they were sending out like Dusty Baker and their couple of All-Stars. And then he hopped on the plane with them. Pretty cool story.
That's awesome. But
could
that be considered tampering?
I don't think so.
I mean, just from a standpoint, I mean, you're sending – if this guy ends up in Astro one day, don't be surprised.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would. He probably had the trip of a lifetime.
How mad would you be if your team's like, all right, you're on Southwest flight 744. It leaves in like an hour. I would be hot.
It's almost as bad as remember me like
Paul Blackburn.
Yeah, when he comes in, he tries to sabotage the team, do everything to make things go wrong, send them on bad planes with like no storage.
So wait a minute. Soto got sent commercials since he declined the offer for $440.
I did see that too. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Part of me says he deserves it, but part of me is like, this is how you treat your people.
Yeah.
This is how you treat your representatives.
I mean, after all this is over, I don't think Juan Soto is going to be in DC much longer.
No, but what are you going to get back for him? Because now you lost all your leverage.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to have to hunt for young talent. And there's a couple organizations who got it right now in the minor leagues. But, I mean, that's probably all you're going to get right now.
Oh, dude.
A lot of young talent.
I can't believe these cats were sending them south. Listen, there's nothing wrong with Southwest. I don't want this to be a slap in the face. But if you're a major league organization and you're sending one All-Star, like, send him on a private.
Yeah.
Let's send him and his family on a chartered plane. Let them live it up. And if you're in Washington, shame on you. Like that's to me, out of that opportunity, you should have stepped up and said, you know what? Even though you declined our offer, this is the kind of people we are. And maybe he thinks, differently by the time he gets to Los Angeles. That sucks. That's just bad taste.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it's not like the 1970s where like even the best play, like a lot of guys had to work another job too. So yeah, that does suck.
Here's something from Amo too that I wanted to get into you guys real quick with. The Captain on ESPN Plus was right after the home run derby. Richie, I was all about it because we got off there and I was like, all right, I'm watching this. Did you end up watching it at all?
To bed. No, I ended up going to bed.
Soft soap. How about you? You watch The Captain?
I did not.
Both of you guys suck.
Well, don't spoil it yet because I think
you're both. Hey, here's a
it.
Spoiler alert. He's an unbelievable baseball player.
Well, I know that he got paid over $12 million in his career.
What do we got here? Sure. Sort of on brand for the A's, though. CJ's not wrong. He's not wrong. Billy B, I mean, you watch Moneyball one time, you kind of start understanding it. If they can save $100 on a plane ticket, they're going to do it. So I will say this without spoiling the first episode, because I think the second episode comes out Sunday, one of those days.
Okay. I thought it was just one.
No, it's
like a series.
Yeah, I think it's a 10.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah, it's similar to The Last Dance. It's awesome. And I told Sigler, and I don't think he believes me. I think it's every bit as good, if not better, than The Last Dance. As a baseball fan, I think that goes into it. I think there's a lot of that. But as a guy that always respected Derek Jeter, where I think it's going to get really juicy is when they start talking about A-Rod. And I hate A-Rod.
I know.
Despise him. But
the Yankees, but I like it.
I've already heard some of the. I mean, you remember this stuff a little, at least a little bit. A-Rod claimed to be a better shortstop than Derek Jeter, more clutch, better player. I don't disagree, but Derek Jeter, you go to a new team, you're not uprooting the shortstop or the captain for A-Rod.
No,
and A-Rod had a problem with that.
Plus, like, A-Rod was a better player if you just go by in the regular season, but
A-Rod did his part. A-Rod did his part
for 1 year, but Jeter won 4 World Series. Like,
he played for the Rangers. He took the money.
But he even when he got to New York, he stunk in the playoffs.
Who did?
Of those A-Rod.
He held up the Yankees in the 09, I think, series that they won.
Yeah, 1 year he was there.
Oh, 1 year. You know how many people would love to say they held up a team for 1 year and won a World Series?
I mean,
anybody in Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, A-Rod wasn't phenomenal.
Oh, man, but he wasn't. Had to go there. Had to rip my heart out today.
Don't piss on Derek Jeter.
I'm defending Jeter.
No, you're going after A-Rod too. But A-Rod was, let's face it, A-Rod's one of the top 30 baseball players of all time.
Oh, his regular season numbers are through the
Why are we talking about regular season? Like, the cat played for the Rangers, made $252 million, and what, the Mariners too, until he got to. And who?
When he was with Texas for the 3 years, he was an MVP.
Yeah, stud.
All 3 years.
Stud.
I'm not saying he's definitely a phenomenon. He was better than Jeter.
I think you have a problem with the Yankees, is what I think.
I hate the Yankees too, but
I'm still a little salty from 2017 when my now Guardians blew a 2-0 lead.
How do you feel about the Cubs?
ALDS. I used to love the Cubbies, like the Bartman era, but not anymore.
Yeah, you loved them when they were lovable losers, but when they beat your ass in the World Series, it didn't feel so good, did it? Imagine being in a division with them.
Especially after the Cavs came back from 3-1, and then
I've never heard that one before. Tell me that story again.
Well, it's the only championship I have to go on.
Let's put a wrap on. Let's put a bow on today's show. It is the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by our friends over at Joe Dickey Electric. Anything commercial, anything residential, anything electrical. Hit up DickeyElectric.com for all of that and more. The Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark. Scotty, lead us off.
Okay, my for today, and if you guys fall into this category, no disrespect, but I guess this is a little jab at you guys too. I don't think you do though, but it's people at this time of year that are complaining that it's too hot. It's like, I hate people this time of year that complain that it's too hot, because not only do we not know how many days and how often the weather's gonna change, how many nice days we're gonna get. Those are the first people that, as soon as it's snows on the ground, they say they can't wait till summer. So it's like, we live in Ohio. Make up your mind and enjoy the sunshine, please. We don't get that many sunny days here, so just enjoy it, people. That's my spot.
Calm down, Scotty. Jeez, oh man, jumping out of the chair. All right, Richard, what do you have?
I'm going to tell a little story real quick. So
go for it.
Last night, I was here on scene number 2 filling in for Noah Ricks because he had something going on, but he was able to come in and do the 8 o'clock game. So I get done with my game, whatever. I go and, Dan Bertolini was up here at C1, so I was just talking with him. And, I put my stuff in my car, hang out for a little bit, watch the game on scene 1, and I come back over here to scene 2 to see what's going on. And, love the way Noah Ricks calls baseball games. That's all I'm going to say. The amount of heart, the amount of passion. These guys were from Maryland, the team that he was calling, but you think that he'd be calling like his hometown team in Howland. Just the amount of passion he has for the game, and he loves it. He promotes it every single game he does on his Twitter and his Instagram and his Snapchat, whatever he's got. So I just want to give a shout out to him, and he's done a lot over the past couple of weeks for all of us here at YSN on scenes 2 and scenes 3. Even got some time on scene 1. So just want to give a thank you to him real quick. And I just love listening to him because he just brings every hit is just so much energy. It could be a 2-out base hit in a 6-run game, and it sounds like it's to win it. I just love it.
I'm a fan as well, man. I'm glad you got a chance to take that in person, because I got to hear it a little bit last night and just brought a smile to my face as well. Thank you, Noah. Appreciate all that you do for us. And Richie, thanks for the shout out there for Noah. I mean, that's a leadership thing, man. Leading by example. I love it.
Yeah. Well, Noah, he's been through a lot throughout his college career. I mean, he's working 4 jobs right now in the summer. So he's busting his tail to, make $1 like we were talking about earlier. And he's a guy that actually changed his major when he was in college. So he started off with me in the broadcasting department. He then went into education for 2 years because a lot of people told him that he couldn't do what he wanted to do. He came right back because he didn't want to be a teacher. And he's pretty much showing everybody, hey, I know what you said about me, but I'm going to prove you wrong. And, that's the kind of story that we love. And hopefully, down the road, we can promote that kind of story.
I love that. I don't have anything that can beat that, man. You win today's Spark. So congratulations. If we had a belt, you'd be wearing it right now.
You do. The basement. I'll take it.
You leave that belt alone. That doesn't belong to you. You can come in here and mess around with these ones anytime you want. You leave that champion. I'm not even allowed to touch that. I told you that.
Yeah.
You and the red Gatorade. Leave it alone. That's going to do it for our show today. Thanks to Richie. Thanks to Scotty for hanging out today. Thanks to you for always checking in and having your 2 cents. Amo, CJ, Siggy, Radar, everybody that's chiming in. If you want to see your name on the big board, make sure that you tune in tomorrow from 3 to 4 right here on the YSN Power Hour, where we make dreams come true, apparently. Good night, everybody. YSN thanks you for